everyone, welcome back to the Toal channel. Thanks for stopping by. As you can tell by the video title, this is going to be another heavy video. It sucks to have to sit here and make this right now. Again. But again, we, kind of have decided that we were going to be very open about this journey and share the ups and downs and the craziness of it, and then this is just part of that. So here we are back again to tell our story of this time not a failed match, but a disrupted placement. So to tell this story, we kind of have to take you back a little bit. You guys are unaware of the more recent match that we've had. You guys are aware of the first one, which failed back in October, and we went back to being a waiting family. About 3 weeks later, we received a call from the agency that a new expectant mother had looked at our profile and selected us, and this mother was expecting twins. It was twins. It was a boy and a girl. So basically all of our dreams come true into one situation. And, we were excited, but we were cautious because of what had just happened to us. So we were like, let's wait, let's meet her. And just to put this out there, the reason that you guys have no idea about any of this is because we were filming clips of the process as it was going, and once everything was finalized, we were gonna put up like a surprise video showing you the whole process from start to finish, and introducing you to what we hoped would be our children. So that's why you don't know about any of this. I was actually in the process of putting that video together when things fell apart. Anyway, we were cautious this time. We wanted to wait until we met her. And what were your first impressions of her when we met this expectant mom?
When I very first met her, I thought she was great. I mean, we clicked, we vibed, and yeah, I thought she was I thought it was a perfect match. Mm-hmm. I was very confident. Yeah,
she, this situation, I mean, everybody is different, right? But this particular situation just felt worlds different from our first match.
It was so reassuring.
It was, first of all, she was so warm and genuine, and she was so confident in her decision to place. Like, more confident than I was. Like, I feel like, how could you ever be so confident, in this kind of difficult decision? But she was so confident, and she sat there and she told us about the statistics of, women in her situation raising children, and everything. And she just was like, this is what's right. And when our social worker asked her, like, what made you pick, Lorianne and Mike, she beamed, and she was just like, I just saw their video and I just knew it was them. Like, the fact that she was not only so confident in her decision to place, but also in her decision that we were the family, was mind-blowing, and we loved her right away. And that was in kind of like early November-ish, right? So some time went along. When we met her, she was at 35 weeks. She's at 35 weeks, I think. And twins don't carry all the way to 40 weeks for the most part. They were expected to come somewhere in the 27th week, 26th, 27th week. And so we had a very short period of time where we were kind of waiting with her. And we got a call on Tuesday, December 3rd, from her that she was in labor. Basically, the plan was that she wanted us there. She lived about an hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes from us. We made it down there in like what felt like record time. The car was already packed for the most part because we knew it was coming. We just had to pack up some last minute stuff. And we got ourselves together really, really quickly, and we were by her side by like 1:30 that afternoon. And we pretty much didn't really leave her side the rest of the time. We just sat in the room. Yeah, I mean, we left to get food, and then really at like 12 at night, midnight, a nurse came in and said there was like a little room that nobody was using in labor and delivery that night, and if we wanted, we could get a few hours of sleep in there, because it was really hard to sleep in her room. We basically just had like armchairs. So they let us sleep in there. So we slept in there for maybe 3-4 hours, and by the time we woke up, they were looking for us because they were getting ready to prep her to bring her to the OR. So on December 4th, early in the morning, they prepped all of that. Unfortunately, they could only let 2 people go in the OR, and they were delivering them in the OR because they're multiples, and a lot of times you never know what could happen. You have to be ready to go into C-section if need be. And she had a doula, so Mike couldn't go in. He had to wait back in the room, and I went in, and that's what the expectant mother had wanted. And I stood up by her head. I held her head as she pushed. She was adamant that she wanted me to be the one to cut the umbilical cords. So at 6:11 a.m., baby girl was born, and then at 6:31 a.m. baby boy was born. So after the delivery, they moved us to a little recovery room where Mike and I got to do a skin to skin and be the first people to hold them. That was their biological mom's decision. That's what she wanted, as well as putting the names that we had selected for our hopeful children on their birth certificates. So the entire time that we were all in the hospital, we were calling them by the names that we had selected. We let her pick the middle name, and then we had the first name. So she was very, very adamant that she wanted us to be a part of the process. So anyway, after all of that, they moved all 5 of us, us, bio mom, and the twins to the maternity ward. Biological mom had a room. We had our own room about 2 rooms down, and the twins kind of shuttled back and forth between both, and we spent a lot of time in each other's rooms. Yeah. And although our waiting period to when we met her to when babies were born was very short, and we didn't have a ton of communication beforehand, we really got to know each other in the hospital, like on a very kind of like intimate level. And it's funny, the nurses would come in and like leave crying, and they'd be like, you guys are such a beautiful story and a beautiful family. And that's really what we felt like. Yeah. We felt like a family. It was a really, really remarkable period of time, because it's just, you don't realize how close you can get to somebody. And just to talk about the babies for a second, they were perfection. Like, they were gorgeous, and it's really, really difficult to talk about because obviously we're here without them right now, and I don't want to cry. I just want to tell the story, and I don't want to get super emotional, and I've had not a lot of time. It hasn't been that long at all at this point, guys, but you cry so much for something that eventually you just get tired of crying. So it's kind of where I am right now. I feel tired of crying.
Me too.
Yeah, you just get over it, and you just don't want to cry anymore. So that's kind of where I feel like I am right now. But you can't help to have these little emotional flare-ups. But anyway, they were perfect. We didn't need any amount of time to bond with them. We loved them instantly, like instantly. And it was amazing. And for a split second, for a few days, we were mom and dad. Like, we felt it. And normally I would never say that. I would never call myself the mother or the father of children that weren't ours until the documents were signed. But their biological mom was introducing us to everybody as mom and dad. This is their mom and dad. Mom, why don't you grab a bottle for him? Dad, swaddle him just a little tighter. Like, she was referring to us as that. So that's how we felt. That's why we felt so confident in moving forward. I knew it wasn't going to be easy. I knew that there was going to be a hard point. I knew that there was going to be sorrow and loss. But she just seemed so strong in her decision that I just thought we would all work through the hard together. While we were in the hospital, you know, a biological mom had, or their mother at this point, their mother had some complaints about the hospital staff. She wasn't happy with the way she felt like she was being treated. And that really tainted her experience there, and I think just in general. And we knew that she was upset, but I don't think we realized how much it was going to affect her post leaving the hospital, because I think it did play a little bit of a part in what happened later on. But we stood by her side. We advocated for her, whether we understood the way she was feeling treated or not, or whether we agreed with it or not. Her opinions and her perception of what was happening to her is valid. I would say that about anybody's perception of how they're being treated. Your feelings are yours and they're valid. But there were things that were said in the hospital that made us feel uncomfortable at times, and that made us feel a little uneasy. But again, we trusted her, kind of overlooked it, threw it out there as like maybe she was just upset about the way she was being treated, and that's what caused her to say XYZ.
The hormones and stuff.
Exactly. You have a baby, your hormones are going crazy. They have you on pain medication to help relieve that. So now you have hormones and you have medication. And so we just kind of chalked it up to like, there's just a lot going on. But there were a couple times where she said things when she was upset at the hospital staff, like, you guys are about to ruin this. I'm about to take my kids and leave, and nobody's leaving with these kids. Like,
because we had something to do with it.
Yeah, like, and we had nothing to do. So it was just, those things were weird, but we were just like, okay, she's upset. And then there was one evening where she started to kind of dig and get really personal about money and the adoption expenses, and what it was costing us, and what money has to be, if something changes and the adoption doesn't go through, what money do we get back? Would she owe us money back? Things like that. And I was honest with her because I'm an honest person. So I would say, like, I don't know what the law is in this state where we are, but in the state where we're from, New Jersey, birth parent expenses aren't reimbursable. Like, you don't get that back. And so if things don't work out, yes, there is the potential that you lose that money. And again, we just kind of chalked it up to the fact that, like, maybe she was just being curious. Maybe she just wanted to know. Anyway, Friday rolls around. The paperwork is signed by her attorney, by the hospital social worker. The children are released to the custody of the attorney, who then releases them to our custody temporarily until the official paperwork is signed. So we left the hospital Friday at like 3:00. We were in a different state, so we couldn't leave to come home. So we had to then get a hotel. So we were in like a extended stay kind of hotel, where we had a little kitchenette area, and we had to lug 2 newborn babies and a whole bunch of stuff for them, plus stuff for us. And then on top of that, we had to go out at one point, and Mike had to stay in the car with the babies.
Right.
While I ran in and got us some groceries, some extra formula, some more clothes, because I underestimated how many little white undershirt onesies they were going to go through in a day. A lot. We needed some like bibs and stuff. So I had to run out and buy all of that while we were there. So on top of having to pay to stay at the hospital, on top of having to pay for the hotel,
groceries.
And I didn't know how long we were going to be there, so I didn't know how big that bill was going to be. I then had to pay for, like, stuff for the babies, extra clothes, formula, like I said, and I had to buy food and stuff. So, and while we were in the hospital, we had to eat. The hospital didn't give us food, so we had to buy food then. So, like, if you're thinking about this, it's like, it's racking up. So not only is the adoption itself expensive, but now we have all these like ancillary expenses that are related to it, to do this, and it's all adding up. But again,
it's worth it.
We're worth it. It's worth it. We'll figure it out later. We just want to be parents, and we have these 2 perfect little angels in front of us, so we'll do anything. We'll figure it out, right? We initially did not want any family to come and visit.
Until everything was finalized. So the papers were signed. But our family was very, very insistent that they wanted to be there. They wanted to meet them. They wanted to help us. And we were so sure about her anyway, so.
And she was supposed to sign the paper Saturday morning, mind you. That was really her idea. That was 72 hours later. Normally the agency gives you a little bit more time because there's a lot of emotions and you want to do a little bit of healing. We were expecting a call on Saturday saying that the paperwork was signed and everything was good. And we got a very different phone call, and the phone call was from her, and it was that she didn't sign the paperwork yet. She did everything else but that last page, and she knows that probably puts fear in us, and we're probably scared, but we have no need to be. She was reassuring us. She said, "You're still mom and dad. I just need a moment before I sign these papers. I want to go be with family for a little bit, spend some time. And just get some peace," because she felt like she had had a really rough week in the hospital. We were like, "We understand, we get it.
Yeah,
go do it." We sympathize, you know, like go do what you have to do. We have the kids, we're good, like, you know. So that was on Saturday. Mike's parents came to visit. They helped us take care of the babies overnight. They got a room so that they could help us, which was really great. So then on Sunday morning, we're just hanging out with the family, loving on the babies, you know, taking care of them. Just like, it was just such an amazing moment. My phone rang and it was the social worker.
I was in the middle of changing the
baby boy. Yeah, you were changing his diaper, and we got a call from the social worker, and she was basically like, "There's literally no easy way to say this, and I'm so sorry, but
I turned around and you was in tears. And I knew right there, I was like, wow.
Yeah, she hadn't even said it yet, and I knew what she was gonna say.
Yeah.
But basically, she was changing her mind and did not want to go forward with the adoption. It was one of the absolute hardest moments of my entire life. Like, I don't think I've been through anything quite as dramatic as that.
It was like a living nightmare. We're in the middle of a dream, and then a nightmare just came.
Like, it didn't feel real, but it was real. And something that took us so long. It took us so long to get to that point, right? From the time we started the adoption process to us holding these babies in our arms. Felt like it took an eternity to get there. And in a split second, it was all being taken away from us. And so at that point, our social worker was like, "Well, we think that you should talk to their mother, because you guys have this incredibly close relationship that you've just built the last couple of days. She should let you know, like why she's changing her mind, like what happened, just so you guys have that kind of closure." And I want to preface this by saying, I fault nobody for wanting to parent their own children. If you saw those babies, you would understand. Anybody and everybody would want those babies. They were, I mean, all babies are beautiful and precious, but like,
they were beautiful.
And I mean, like, they were so perfect. Like, in every single way, they were literal angels. And I don't fault anybody for wanting to keep their children. But the relationship that we had built with her over the last couple of days, I thought that the conversation about what had happened was going to go very differently. She had always been very warm towards us. We called her just to say, like, okay, like, why don't you just walk us through, like, what it is that you're thinking and feeling? I just want to understand you. She was ice cold. Like, ice cold.
Different person.
Completely. A totally different person. Than who we had just been dealing with for days. Her decision, again, is her decision. And she doesn't have to justify it. That's not even what I was looking for. But, I was expecting, like, I just can't do it. I really just think I can handle this, and I want to, and I didn't think it was gonna be this hard, but I just want to be their mother. But I'm sorry for
That
dragging you into this, and now I know that your heart is breaking.
Yeah. Something.
Her words were, I would say sorry, but I don't know what I'm sorry for. I'm not sorry.
Yeah.
Not even a thank you for basically babysitting my children all week. But yeah, I mean, the conversation I had with her was devastating, mostly just because of her demeanor. You also had a conversation with her on the phone after.
Yeah, I called her because after, you told me how cold she was towards you. I felt like I should have called her. Maybe I could get a different response out of her, Maybe our conversation would go a little differently. And it did not. She was very cold towards me as well. And it just felt like I was speaking to a complete different person that we've been dealing with the entire time. Yeah. It was hurtful.
Yeah, that's what her behavior was hurtful after the fact. Because when I tell you that we loved this woman, we loved this woman. Yeah. After all of that, we were kind of talking to the lawyer, her lawyer, because her lawyer was going to be the one to come and wait with them until their mother could get there to take them home. The attorney at first was like, I can get there until 5:30. And my dad was like, absolutely not. We're packing you up and we need to get out of here. And they need to make arrangements because, you can't, what are you supposed to do? Sit here? While we were waiting and packing up, it was time for them to be fed again. Yeah. And I had to pick up baby girl.
Knowing that it's not going to be
knowing that she's not mine. And I had to pick her up and feed her and burp her and dress her.
Still getting attached.
Because she's and all I could do is just feed her and cry. Yeah. And say I'm sorry, but this isn't going to be your life. You're going to have a different life, and I hope you have a good life, but it's not going to be with us. And that was hard. Yeah. So were we scammed? I don't think initially this started out as a scam. I think that everybody had all the intentions of this being a valid adoption plan. She was really confident. Things that make me feel like it wasn't a scam, the fact that she wanted us there for the labor and delivery, the fact that she wanted to use the names that we picked on their original birth certificate. She didn't have to do that. She could have named them whatever that she wanted. We would have called them what we wanted, and then we would have changed it when we got our birth certificates later on, when everything was finalized, but she didn't want to do that. There were a lot of things that, I feel like were genuine, but I do feel like somewhere during our time in the hospital, she started to have second thoughts.
Yeah, definitely.
And instead of expressing those feelings to us, I think that she just kind of kept them to herself. And I in retrospect, I think her asking all of those questions about money was her trying to figure out what her out was. Right. And what she would be responsible for if she were to back out. And once she realized that there was nothing she was really responsible for, I think that kind of helped, made her decision a little bit easier, that she could walk away from the adoption plan, which again, it's her right to. I don't fault anybody for wanting to keep their own children. But where things start to get a little bit sketchy for us is just that on Saturday, when she was supposed to be signing the paperwork to terminate her rights, she had said she wasn't going to sign that day. She needed more time, but she was asking for the living expenses that we had agreed to pay. And they were like, well, those don't get passed out or whatever until the paperwork is signed, until there's a finalized adoption, because we're not responsible for paying those expenses unless the adoption is goes through. Yeah. So they were like, we're not really supposed to give you those until that happens. But they provided a check with the date for Monday when she was going to sign, because then she said, I'm not going to do it Saturday, I'll do it Monday. So they gave her a check dated Monday saying don't deposit this or try to cash this until Monday, but here you can hold on to it in the time being. So on Sunday, when she let everybody know that she wasn't going to go through with the plan, they had said, you have to discard that check. And she had said that she had already cashed it. And they were like, well, then you have to write a check back for that amount. And she was like, oh no, informed that legally I don't have to pay that money back. And to me, that's where things start to feel scammy, if that's a word. And her cold demeanor was hurtful, and finding that out was even more hurtful. When we had told her that we lost money in our first situation, she, I guess I'll say acted, because I don't know if it was genuine or not, acted as if she was horrified by that and was like, that's so unfair. Like, what happens next for us?
Well, I think
we don't really know.
Yeah, we don't really know.
We don't really know.
I mean,
I'm laugh through the pain, guys. But we don't really know.
I just know our profile expires in the spring. Our adoption profile that we have up.
Our home study.
So I mean, if we get a call from now between then, we'll obviously figure out. It depends on the situation.
Yeah. It depends on what's going on.
But we don't want to get heartbroken again. I think our heart has taken enough. So once that expires, I think maybe we should look at different avenues.
Yeah, I think that, gosh, guys, it's crazy. I was so drawn. I felt like we were so called towards adoption and this path to becoming parents, and after having a failed match and then a disrupted placement less than 2 months apart,
it's like,
I just feel like, really, could this possibly be, like, am I ever going to meet my child this way? I don't know. I try to have faith, but I just really I don't have much faith at this point, and I just don't know that it's worth it for us to continue down this path. I mean, guys, like, the amount of money that we've spent, and the agency is working, and the lawyer is working to see, like, what it is that we can recuperate from this last situation. I don't know how much money we're going to recuperate from this, but with that being said, like, the amount of money we've spent on preparing to add children to our family. So at this point, I don't know, I feel financially spent. I feel emotionally spent. I'm just exhausted, and I just don't know how much more I have to give of myself. When we started the adoption process, I was very adamant that I was not ready to begin it was our calling. Yeah, I just felt like, and I felt like I wasn't ready to do infertility treatments. I've always said I will never say never. I just wasn't interested in it at that moment in time.
Right.
And I still don't know if I feel that I am, but at the same time, we want to be parents, and we've gotten so close.
Yeah.
Like, we were parents for a few days there, and it was amazing. And to know that we now have a long wait ahead of us before we get to have that again, it's kind of devastating.
Yeah.
And so at this point, I think we're ready to figure out whatever it is that we have to do to become parents. So, if that means exploring infertility treatment and trying to have biological children, that might be just what we have to do. I'm just in a place where I'm tired of, like, our family's fate resting in other people's hands. Like, we have no control over what happens. So I don't know exactly what we're going to do next. We're going to figure it out. We have some time to think. But I will tell you that we will 100% keep you guys posted.
Yeah.
We'll keep you guys informed. You will take the journey with us, whether this continues as an adoption journey or whether it starts off as our journey through infertility treatments. Either way, we'll keep you guys posted, and we'll bring you along. Thank you guys so much for your support thus far. Your kind words and comments mean so much to us. They really help us get through the hard times. We love hearing from people that we've been able to help them in some way, or that they feel like they can relate to us while they are feeling very low in their infertility or adoption journeys. that means a lot to us. It really, really does. It's the entire reason that we sit on camera sad and put ourselves out there, is to help other people. So thank you for letting us know and for writing to us. It really means a lot. We're sorry this one was a sad one. We hope next one is a little bit more happy and upbeat for you guys, especially because we're coming up on Christmas time. Should be a happy time of the year. Don't forget to comment below, leave us a thumbs up if you like this video. Don't forget to subscribe for more content from us in the future, and we will see you guys in our next video. Bye.